I still remember the first time I saw Owen. It was at the local gym on a rainy Tuesday evening. I was tired from my shift at the supermarket, but I went to the gym because I didn't want to stay home alone. That day something changed. That day I saw him. He stood near the water machine talking to his friend. His hair was short and messy. His eyes were blue and kind. He laughed at something small, but his smile was big. I stood there for a moment. I didn't move. I had never seen someone like him before. My name is Nora. I'm 21 years old. I live in a small house with my older sister. Our parents moved away 2 years ago, and we stayed here for work. Life in our town is quiet. People know each other. We see the same faces every day. But that day I saw a new face. Owen's face. I didn't talk to him that first day. I didn't even smile. I just looked at him, then turned away. Felt silly. Why would a guy like him ever talk to a girl like me? But something happened the next week. I saw him again. This time he smiled at me. Smiled back. My heart felt warm. I went home that night and couldn't stop thinking about him. The next time we met, he spoke to me. "Hey, do you come here often?" he asked. I laughed a little. "Yes. After work." He looked surprised. "Where do you work?" "At the grocery store near Main Street," I said. "That's cool," he said, then looked at his watch. "I'm Owen." "I'm Nora," I said, trying to sound calm. That was the start. After that, we saw each other often. Sometimes at the gym. Sometimes on the street. He would stop and say hi. He always had something funny to say. Sometimes he made fun of the loud gym music. Sometimes he talked about his dog, Max. I never saw the dog, but I liked hearing about it. Soon I waited for those little talks. I picked my gym days when I thought he might be there. I changed my route home, hoping I'd see him walking his dog. I told myself it was nothing. Just a small crush. Just a bit of fun. But deep inside I started to feel more. One day, Owen sat beside me on a bench near the park. I was on my break eating a sandwich. He smiled and said, "Mind if I sit?" "No, it's fine," I said. We talked for almost 30 minutes. He told me about his job at the car shop. He liked fixing engines and hated oil changes. I listened to every word. I smiled at every joke. I laughed even when it wasn't that funny. After that day I thought things were changing. He messaged me on social media. We sent photos of our food, our pets, funny things we saw. I told my sister, "I think he likes me." She raised her eyebrows and said, "Be careful, Nora. He seems nice, but don't get too fast." But I didn't listen. I was already in too deep. One Friday night he asked if I wanted to hang out. "Sure," I said too quickly. He said, "Cool. Just a few friends, nothing big." He picked me up in his car. The music was loud. His jacket smelled like fresh soap and engine oil. I sat there smiling, feeling lucky. The night was simple. We played games, ate chips, and talked. I didn't know most of the people there, but I stayed close to Owen. At one point he handed me a soda and said, "You're quiet. Are you okay?" I said, "I'm just happy." He looked at me for a second. Then he smiled and said, "That's good." That smile made me believe something that maybe wasn't true. When he dropped me off that night, I wanted to say something. I wanted to tell him I liked him. But I didn't. I just said, "Thanks for tonight." "No problem," he said, already looking at his phone. I stood there for a moment before walking inside. My sister looked at me and said, "You like him, don't you?" I just nodded. But something small inside me already knew. I knew something wasn't right. I just didn't want to see it. I'm sharing my story, hoping they reach someone. Are you there? Are you listening? Just knowing you're here means everything. Before we continue with the story, I'd love to hear from you. Which part of the world are you listening from today? Leave a comment below. And if this story touched your heart, please subscribe for more simple and emotional English stories. The next few weeks felt like a dream. Owen messaged me almost every day. He asked how my day was. He sent funny videos. He told me about his dog, his work, and even his favorite food. I felt like I was in his world. He made me laugh. He made me feel seen. I had never felt this way before. I told my sister, "I think this is real." She looked at me and said, "Just take it slow." But I couldn't. My heart was already moving fast. One afternoon I saw Owen at the gym. He walked straight to me and said, "I missed seeing you this week." My face got warm. I smiled and said, "I missed you too." We talked for a while and then he asked, "Do you want to grab something to eat?" I said yes without thinking. We went to a small place in town. It was simple. The lights were soft, and there weren't many people. We sat near the window. He talked about his old school, his plans, his favorite bands. I listened to everything. I asked questions and laughed. I felt close to him, like we had a special bond. At one point he said, "You're easy to talk to." I looked at him and said, "So are you." He smiled, but then he looked at his phone again. That part made me feel small, but I tried to ignore it. The next day he didn't message me. I waited. I kept checking my phone, but nothing came. I told myself he was busy. Maybe work was hard. Maybe his phone was dead. But by evening I felt a small pain inside. I told myself not to worry. One day without a message didn't mean anything. 2 days passed. Then 3. Still nothing. On the 4th day he sent one message. "Hey. Sorry. Been busy." That was it. I replied, "It's okay. I hope you're okay." He didn't answer. That night I didn't sleep well. I thought about our talks, our laughs, the ride in his car. I thought about how I smiled when I saw his name on my phone. I thought about how I looked for him at the gym. I thought about every little thing. And now nothing. The next week I saw him again at the gym. He was with a girl. She was pretty. She had long hair and nice clothes. They were talking and laughing. Just like he did with me. I felt my stomach twist. I wanted to turn around and leave, but I didn't. I just stood there. He saw me. He gave a small smile, then looked away. He didn't come to talk to me. He didn't say hi. I left the gym early that day. I walked home in the cold. My hands were shaking, but not from the wind. My chest hurt. My heart felt heavy. I told myself, maybe it's nothing. Maybe she's just a friend. But deep down I knew. That night I told my sister what happened. She sat next to me and said, "Nora, you need to be honest with yourself. He's not treating you right." I didn't want to hear that. I wanted her to say, "Give it time. He'll come around." But she didn't. She was right and I hated it. Days went by. Owen didn't message again. I still saw him sometimes around town. Once at the gas station. Once near the school. Once at the cafe. Each time he was with someone. Friend. A girl. Or just looking busy. Each time he didn't stop to talk to me. One night, I saw him again at a small party. I went with a friend from work. I didn't know he would be there. He was sitting with that same girl. They were close. She touched his arm. He smiled at her. I stood near the door, holding a drink I didn't want. I watched them for too long. I told myself to stop. But I couldn't. Felt like watching someone take a part of my heart and not even know it. He saw me again. This time he walked over. "Hey," he said. "Didn't know you'd be here." I smiled, but it felt fake. "Yeah. I came with Kara." "Cool," he said. He looked down at his shoes. Then back at me. "Everything good?" I wanted to say no. I wanted to say, "Why did you stop talking to me?" But I just said, "Yeah, I'm fine." He nodded. "That's good." Then he looked around. "I should get back to my friends." "Sure," I said. He walked away. I stood there for a moment, then went outside. The air was cold and sharp. I sat on the steps and closed my eyes. Felt small. Felt stupid. I had liked him so much. Thought he liked me too. He made me feel special. But maybe he was just being nice. Maybe I was just another person in his day. I wanted to cry, but the tears wouldn't come. When I got home, I took a long shower. I didn't speak to my sister. I just lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. I felt empty. The next morning, I told myself something had to change. I couldn't keep waiting for someone who didn't care. I had to take care of myself. I had to stop checking my phone. I had to stop looking for him at the gym. It wasn't easy. Every day I thought about him. When my phone beeped, I hoped it was him. But it never was. When I walked to work, I still looked around, hoping to see him. But I also told myself, "You will be okay." I started spending more time with my sister. We watched movies. Took walks. Talked more. She made me laugh again. One evening she said, "You're starting to look like you again." Smiled. "I still think about him," I said. "That's okay," she said. "But don't wait for someone who can't see how lucky he was to know you." I didn't say anything. I just nodded. She was right. Owen was part of my story. But he didn't want to stay in it. And I had to learn how to keep going without him. I stopped going to the gym for a while. It was too hard to be there. Every machine, every hallway, every song reminded me of Owen. I wanted to move on. I wanted to forget. But forgetting him was not easy. He was in my mind when I woke up. He was in my thoughts when I went to sleep. I hated that. I hated that someone who didn't care about me still lived inside my heart. Focused on work. I worked more hours at the store. I talked to customers and helped them find things. I smiled when I didn't want to. I told jokes I didn't mean. A night I came home tired. But even then, my mind found a way to bring him back. One day my sister came home with 2 ice creams. "You need a break," she said. I smiled and sat down beside her on the porch. "Do you think I was stupid?" I asked. "No," she said. "You were honest. You had real feelings. That's not stupid." "But he never felt the same," I said. "Then he lost something good," she said. "Not you." Her words helped. Not fully, but a little. I didn't feel strong yet. But I felt safe with her. After that talk, I started doing small things to feel better. Took walks alone. I made new food at home. I wore nice clothes even when I had nowhere to go. I stopped checking my phone every 5 minutes. It was hard at first, but slowly I did it less. Some days I still saw Owen. Once at the store. He came in to buy snacks. I saw him from behind and my heart jumped. But I turned around and walked the other way. He didn't see me. Or maybe he did. But he didn't say anything. Another time I saw him at a gas station. He was with a friend. He looked happy. I wasn't sad when I saw him. I wasn't angry either. I just felt nothing. And that, to me, was a small win. One Sunday I joined a new fitness class. It was held at a small place near the library. It was just 5 people. Quiet, calm, no loud music. I liked it. The teacher was kind. Her name was Grace. She made us feel welcome. I started going every week. It helped my body and my mind. One day after class, a guy named Ben said hello. "You're getting better," he said. "You moved faster today." I laughed. "I still feel slow." "That's okay," he said. "We're all just trying." He was tall and wore simple clothes. He didn't smile too much, but he looked kind. We started talking after each class. Nothing deep, just small chats, but they made me feel normal again. He didn't ask for my number. He didn't message me every night. But he always looked for me at class. And I started looking for him too. One rainy afternoon, he offered me a ride home. "Are you sure?" "Yes." "It's cold," he said. "You'll get sick." We didn't talk much in the car. But the silence was nice. It wasn't heavy. Felt calm. When we got to my house, I said, "Thanks." "No problem," he said. "See you next week." After he drove away, I stood at the window for a few minutes. I didn't feel the same rush I felt with Owen. But I also didn't feel nervous. Felt steady. I liked that. That night I told my sister, "I think I met someone nice." She raised her eyebrow. "Nice or interesting?" "Both," I said. She smiled and said, "Good. But don't rush." "I won't," I said. Weeks passed. I saw Ben every class. Sometimes we went for tea after. We talked about music, food, and movies. He told me he worked at a car shop too, just like Owen. But he said he liked fixing bikes more. "Cars are noisy," he joked. One evening, as we walked back from the tea shop, he asked, "So, are you seeing anyone?" I shook my head. "No." He looked down at the street. "Can I ask you something else?" "Sure," I said. "Do you want to go for dinner?" "Just us." I didn't answer right away. My heart was calm, not fast. I looked at him and said, "Yes." We chose a small place near the river. Nothing fancy. The food was simple, the lights were soft. He opened the door for me. He didn't check his phone once. He listened when I spoke. He didn't try to be funny all the time. He was just kind. When I got home that night, I sat on my bed and smiled. It was different from Owen. Very different. But maybe that was a good thing. A few days later, I saw Owen again. He was walking down the street. Alone. He looked at me. I looked at him. We didn't stop. We didn't speak. We just passed each other. Felt nothing. No pain. No rush. No hope. Just quiet. And that, I think, was the moment I knew I had let him go. Spring came slowly. The trees turned green again, and the air felt soft. I walked to work without a jacket for the first time in months. My steps felt lighter. My heart did too. It was not full of love, not yet. But it was no longer full of pain. Ben and I kept seeing each other. Once a week became twice. And more. We didn't call it love. We didn't talk about what we were. We just enjoyed each other's time. That was enough for me. He was not like Owen. He didn't say big words. He didn't send heart emojis or make me guess what he felt. But he always showed up. He remembered small things. He asked real questions. He laughed at my bad jokes. He helped me fix a broken chair at home. He made me tea when I was tired. He didn't make my heart race. He made it feel safe. One night I told him everything. About Owen. About the gym. About how I waited for messages that never came. He didn't try to fix it. He didn't say, "Owen is a fool." He just listened. When I finished, I looked at him and said, "I felt small for a long time." He looked into my eyes and said, "You're not small. You were just seen by the wrong person." That night I cried a little. Not from pain. From something else. Maybe from feeling understood. My sister noticed the change in me. One evening she said, "You smile more now." "I feel more like myself again," I said. "That's good," she said. "You're stronger than you think." But healing wasn't a straight line. Some days I still remembered the hurt. I still asked myself, why didn't he choose me? But now I could answer. Because I wasn't for him. And he wasn't for me. I started doing more things for myself. I read books. I tried painting. I went to the river on my days off. I sat alone, not waiting for anyone to come or call. I liked that. One sunny afternoon, Ben and I walked through the park. The flowers were blooming. The sky was blue. He said, "I'm glad I met you." "I'm glad too," I said. He looked nervous. "I was scared to ask you out at first. You looked like someone who had a lot on her mind." "I did," I said. "But I also needed someone kind." "Well," he said, smiling, "I can do kind." We both laughed. That night I thought about how love can grow slow. Not like fire. More like the sun rising. You don't notice it at first, but then the light is everywhere. Weeks passed. Then months. One day, Ben invited me to meet his family. I felt nervous but excited. They were kind people. His mother liked baking. His dad told old stories. His little niece made me laugh. When we left, he asked, "So, was that okay?" Smiled. It was more than okay. We stopped at a small bench on the way back. "I never thought I'd feel this again," I said. "What?" he asked. "Safe. Wanted. Not because someone is trying to win me, but because they choose to stay." Ben took my hand. "I'm not going anywhere," he said. A few weeks later, we had dinner with my sister. She liked him. After he left, she said, "He's good for you. I can see it." "He is," I said. "I didn't think I'd find someone like this." She smiled. "Sometimes the best people come after the worst ones." She was right. One day while cleaning my phone, I found old photos. There was one of me and Owen at the gym. We weren't close. Just in the same room. I looked at it for a moment. Then I deleted it. That part of my life was over. Not because it didn't matter, but because it had taught me something. I had learned what I didn't want. I had learned what real care looks like. I had learned how to stand up again after falling. And I had learned how strong a quiet heart can be. Ben and I never made big promises. We didn't talk about forever. But we built something real step by step. One small moment at a time. I still work at the same store. I still live in the same house. I still take walks to the same park. But I am not the same Nora. I am the girl who thought he loved her too. And now I am the woman who learned to love herself first. Sometimes we give our hearts to people who don't feel the same. That pain can stay with us for a long time. But it doesn't mean we are not worthy of love. Real love is not loud or fast. It is quiet, steady, and kind. We must learn to let go of people who make us feel small and open our hearts to those who truly see us. The right person will not leave you wondering. They will stay, care, and grow with you. And most of all, healing always begins with self-love. I hope you have enjoyed the story. Like and comment if you want to hear more soon.